Yes, we are live. Hello, everyone. You are here with one more Esports 101. Today, our guest is Brandon Henriquez, an sports and game professional based in New York, whose career sits at the intersection of the community building, culture, education, technology, and digital strategy. Uh, Thank you very much for accepting our inviting, Brandon.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Really, really happy to be here.
Today, our co-host is Jade. Jade is with us, like I think is the third one with us. Thank you very much
Yeah,
for stay with us, Jade.
thank you. Thanks, Brendan, for accepting our invitation. I hope we have a good talk today.
Yeah, super
Yeah.
excited about this. Nice to join both of you.
Brandon, we did like a small and really bad introduction about yourself. The first question we do for the guest is, who are you? Tell me a little bit more about Brandon, what you do.
Yeah, I've worn many hats throughout my multiple years just in technology and then through esports. But to give a little bit of background on myself, before starting VGA, which is the main reason why we're here, I've worked in IT roughly for about 20 years. I've done every position from an intern to even director level, spending the last 10 years of that career within the educational space. And what I found during that time was that while I do enjoy being a leader, I also enjoy being a creator in my own rights and aspects, and that led me to starting multiple different businesses throughout my time. My first one being a essentially my own independent contracting business, specifically for IT, where I would take on projects that more so aligned with my own beliefs, which were like minority owned businesses, women owned businesses, green energy companies, nonprofits. And through there, eventually I wanted to become more of a creator. And so I started working virtual reality and augmented reality for a bit. And that was all in tandem with working my regular job. And then roughly 7 years ago, we started Video Game Amateurs. And so Video Game Amateurs was a huge, huge, huge passion project that roughly around, I think, 2 years ago now, I officially quit my job and just do Video Game Amateurs full time.
Nice. And Brendan, I think you mentioned like some things that you do, like digital strategy, sorry, and programming. So you started with IT and then you moved to gaming and esports. Why did you do that? Like, why such a sudden move?
Yeah, I think for me, I got into IT really as something that I wound up being good at. Actually, I started it originally working with a nonprofit that held their own tech program, and myself here in New York, I was raised with a single mother and my grandparents on this side. Right, my mother had me when she was very young. She had me when she was 16. And so as growing up, I started working maybe around 15 years old. And for me, it was always about helping around at the house, trying to help out with bills, doing everything I can. And when I got into IT, there was nothing different about that, right? And so my main goal was like, hey, how can I help my family more? How can I help myself more? How can I make sure everybody is taken care of? And when I started to get to, I think, that 10-year mark, when I first started to become a director in that career path, I started to kind of reflect on it and saying like, okay, like before I was operating out of survival, right? Like it's like, hey, like how do we make sure that family is good, I'm good, everyone's good? And now that everybody was good, it's kind of like you start to reflect and say, hey, like, okay, well, what do I want? Right? Like what do I want to do for myself? Right? Like, because every time I would talk about IT, people would say it sounds like I'm very passionate about it. It's like, no, I just kind of got really good at it. Right? I'm really good at doing this thing, and it pays the bills, and that makes me happy, and so that I sound like I'm
Mhm.
happy, right? And
Yeah.
I like being able to work on all these projects and stuff, but it's not necessarily what I want to do. And so, when after I started doing virtual reality and then eventually stopped, I had quit gaming for a bit. And I was like, you know what? I really love and enjoy gaming. How can I use the tools around me to just do it in a way that I think is no longer just playing for fun, but playing with intention? Right. And that started with, just using the equipment I had from live streaming that led to doing events, that led to creating our own programs. And then now, 7 years later, we're here.
Nice. I'm going to try to keep like a chronological questions, but sometimes it's impossible because you have like some
Yeah.
rules to ask. But talking a little bit like before, you work with IT. Do you have any kind of education in IT, or it was something that it was happening?
Yeah, so IT was really just something that I started a training program through a nonprofit called Empower. It was down in Brooklyn, New York City. This is roughly probably 20, or not 20, 2007. So a very long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And what was great about that training program, it was one that like, hey, kind of leveled you up to career level skills, right? Like, so I was always the tech guy at my house, right? Like, I was the first person when we had a computer at home to lock my mother out because she kept downloading things she shouldn't. um, right? Like, I'm like, listen, you're messing up the computer, mom. Like, we
Yeah.
gotta, we gotta cut you off.
I don't know my
Um,
password. Can you help me? Yeah.
yeah,
Those kind of
exactly, right? I was actually the one who set her password and then did not tell her because she was the one who kept messing up the computer. But it was, I already had some natural skills. And then even in high school, right? Like I was already working on Photoshop. I was working on CAD designs, right? So I also took architecture and engineering physics in high school, so I was always kind of computer literate. And so when I took that program at Empower, I wound up being one of the top performers there. And what was great is that they also got you internships, and then those internships allowed you to kind of continue on your career path. And, I will say in the 20 years, even though I've learned a lot and done a lot of different things from server administration, network administration, I've built infrastructures for and worked on infrastructures for hedge funds, banks, hospitals, everything. I'm not classically trained, right? Like I didn't go to school for it. I've definitely taken some classes where necessary here and there, got some certifications here and there, but nothing where I was classically trained. It was very much so, once again, something I was good at and naturally picking up, and able to excel so well that combining that with other skills that I learned along the way, like project management, right? Like, making sure that we can actually build projects from start to finish and work between different teams with different skill sets, right? That allowed me to swap from even just being an engineer to then starting to be a leader in the space, right? Like, and starting to really say like, hey, like, what do we need to make something happen? How do we set these deadlines, right? Like, how do we set expectations for other leadership and other people that are buying in on these projects? And that's honestly helped me a lot, even with VGA now.
Yeah. And you have a lot of hands-on projects then on IT. And while you were doing that, all these things, were you kind of preparing yourself to get in the industry of gaming, or was it like a big jump? You just decided to try.
It was 100% a big jump. I think getting into gaming was something that, it I always say that like while we started it with intention, it was never something that I planned on 7 years ago, right? It was very much so something to where like, hey, I really want to get back to the roots of something I love, and that really resonated with people around me that also wanted to add value, right? Like, and add work to it. And so when I'm still doing work, I originally started the video game amateurs Twitch with two friends of mine, right? Like literally, I think we came to my house during lunch because I lived like 3 blocks away from my job at the time. And so it's
Yeah.
like, hey, let's play some games. We were playing, I think, Dragon Ball Fighters at the time.
No.
Nice.
Um, and this is like right when it came out. And so it's like, hey, you know what? Let's make a Twitch channel. And we were like, what are we going to call ourselves? And, I'll never forget my friend, his name is Alex. He was like, we should call ourselves the professionals. And I'm like, I would love to, but there's definitely going to be a 14-year-old that's going to beat us up at some point in
Yeah.
time. And so calling us the pros, we're just gonna look old out here, right? Like we're gonna look like you were the pros, right? You're now the retirees at this point. Um, but then we kind of settled on a name like video game amateurs, right? Like, and even when we settled on that, that was really coming off of looking up what the opposite of a professional is. And what was interesting is that the only word that I could find was amateur, even though amateur doesn't really directly correlate to professional, right? Like, so even when you look up amateur now, the actual definition is someone who engages in art, science, or sport for the love of it rather than monetary gain or recognition, right? Like, so it literally being an amateur is what, like, doing something because you love and enjoy it. And so when we decided on that name, video game amateurs, literally it was just starting a Twitch whenever we were randomly at my house playing some games together, live streaming it, right? Like, and just enjoying it and having a good time, all the while still working, right? Like, and I think it took when Smash Bros Ultimate came out, which I've always been a fan of. And being a huge gamer here in New York City, I know a couple of locations that you can maybe get things early. I'm not going to name those names because I'm not going to get those places in trouble. But we got Smash Bros roughly like 2 weeks early. And
Nice.
so with having it early, we were like, hey, like, well, let's do a small tournament, right? Like literally at my house. Let's do a tournament at my house, live stream it, everything else. And what was crazy is like I had like 20, 30 people now inside my house. Some people I have not met before. I was like, how did these people show up here? Right? Didn't even know them. And I'll never forget at the time, his name is Ed, and we're really good friends now. I've even been to like his baby showers, birthdays, everything else. But at the time, he shows up to my house, beats all of us up in Smash Bros, takes our money, and then buys us all pizza. Right? And now I don't know how to feel because I'm like, this random guy came to my house, beat us all up, but now he's feeding us. So I'm like, this is good, I think, right? But even then, like some of the friends that came by, they were like, hey, like how can we help? Like, can I also stream on the channel? Right? That'd be cool. Like I'm down to help stream. Hey, we did this small tournament at your house. Do you want to do another tournament? Maybe a larger one. I'm down to help with that, right? Like it really stemmed with just my community and the people around me saying, hey, like I want to help make this something more, right? um and that's invaluable because I think everywhere, finding people that are willing to help something grow is what actually makes things happen, right? Like a lot of people tend to say, like, for sure, and you can do anything by yourself, but you can't do everything, right? Like
Yes.
you have to pick and choose what you can do, what you have time for. And so really, that was the start of my first team for video game amateurs, right? Like that really allowed us to go from, hey, we're just doing a couple fun streams, and I had a tournament at my house, to, hey, guess what, now we have a stream team, right? Like of people that are streaming almost 5 days a week. Now I have events that we're planning that are coming up, and really starting to put time together to make some large things happen.
One thing that I feel about the community of gaming that it's so funny is because most of most I don't know now, majority I don't know anymore, but the organizations that are more like in the history, most of them they have like a funny history about everything. Because like you said, the guy that beat you, it was for us in that time, I think you know that. Uh, Play a tournament, it was for two things. The first one for you enjoy the time, and the second one for you show everyone that you are the best. No one
Yep.
cared about the prizes, you know. Like you
Yeah.
said, he won and paid the pizza for everyone. It was
Yep,
just to
that's
show
it.
like, okay, I am
He
better
wanted to
than
show
you guys.
everybody like I'm
Yeah,
better than you, and I didn't know how to feel because it's in my house.
yeah,
Right?
you know.
In my
It
house, I'm
was,
better than you, and I'm gonna buy pizza for everyone
yeah.
now with your money, right? Like, you know what? I
Exactly.
Uh,
I don't know if this is disrespectful or if you're being nice, but I'm gonna accept it right now.
uh, I think like some months ago, someone come to me because I play soccer and they say like I'm going trying to do like a tournament for fun, and they say, guy,
Yeah.
don't forget that if you the price is one Coca-Cola, they are going to play because they want to show that they are better than you. You know, this is
Right?
the
Take a
real
picture
thing.
with the
Yeah,
Coca-Cola, like, I
yes,
won
Yeah.
this, all right?
yes,
You didn't get this.
exactly.
This is me.
Yeah,
Honestly, I think like those people are the best. Like they're there
yeah.
to have fun. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Mm-hmm.
think I think it shows a lot like about what you're building, the type of people they're inserted in the VGA. So
Yeah.
it's all about fun and passion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's always been a labor of love, even from our community members to our current team right now, and even new team members that we were bringing on. We just brought on an intern, actually two interns, that are just signing on. Just brought on a new strategic operations individual as well, right? Like, and it all starts with like, hey, I really want to do this thing, and I really want to get involved. How can I get involved with this, right?
Mhm.
And so it's still true to this day, right? Like even 7 years later.
Nice.
You told for us like a lot of time about VGA, your company, but just one more question before we start talking about that.
Jumping in.
Jumping in this part, you came like from IT,
Hmm.
which is like I usually say like it's a corporative companies, and now you
Yeah.
are working with games. What was the biggest challenge for you changing of your career? What was like a surprise for you? Say like, oh my god, it was so hard.
Ooh. Um, I would say one of the hardest parts is working with venue managers and talent. All right. Coming from a very corporate environment, um, you know, besides potentially generally lazy people, everyone really gets things done, right? Like, and is very, on top of it. We have procedures and operations for how we're on top of it, right? Like, there may be little qualms here and there, but ultimately, everyone is like, hey, we're going to be on top of this, get this done. I know how I like to get it done. How do you need to get it done? What's our timelines? And then we get to it, right? um that's how I've always approached then everything that we do, right? Because that's what I know, that's what I've built my own processes on. Everybody else does not work like that. Right? Like, I could come to a venue and say, hey, I got all this document, here's our run of show, here's this. They'll be like, wow, okay, this is a lot, this is great. I'm like, yeah, so are we good? Yeah, we're good. We are not good. They will not have half the things ready. They will say they have things that they don't have, right? Like, it winds up, allowing me to level set myself and my expectations to where either I have to do double the work to make sure that we get what we need, right? Like, whether that's through agreements, contracts, everything else, right? Or I need to expect that everything is not going to be done unless we come and do it ourselves, right? Like,
Right.
and so, that was a little bit of a surprise because coming from that world and then coming working with venues, you're expecting that they're going to work the same, and that's not true. And then
Mm.
the second is talent, right? Like working with creatives. Creatives are great, and they always lead with passion and love and for what they do and what they create. But a lot of the times, a lot of them don't have, let's say, a lot of that business skill set, right? Like, and so sometimes that means like, hey, they'll be down and open to work with you, but then you may not hear a response for an email for like a month later, right? Until it's time to go do the work. Um, or hey, like, for sure, I want to work with you. And then like, okay, I need a picture to kind of like post up to do socials. Okay, cool. I'll get you the photo. No photo. I'll get you the photo. No photo. And then it's like, hey, can you just take a photo from my IG or something like that? It's like, sure,
Mhm.
okay, well, we have to because it's going to happen tomorrow. So yes, I will do that. Right. And it's also being respectful and mindful of that, because creatives, themselves sometimes are just solopreneurs, right? Like, they're
Yeah.
doing every job, they're wearing every hat to try to succeed and try to work for themselves and utilize that creative talent to essentially be stable, right? And so I always try to be mindful of that, even when I have my own ways of how I would like things and how I'm doing things. It's like, listen, you also have to work with the people that you're working with and be mindful and understand, and also help them. Sometimes it says, hey, like, I have a template you can use. Maybe in the future you can use this, right? Like, or hey, you may want to set up a folder and do this, right? Like, try to guide and lead a little bit.
Mhm.
I think the important thing for us to understand is that is for creators or players. Uh, I am. Oh my God, I'm afraid about being canceled for everyone. But like, it's like because like most no, like some of creators, some of players that they play, they do that because of passion. Of course, they need the money because this is capitalism. Unfortunately, we need money for have a good life, but they
Yep.
are passionate. I usually say my history for make they understand that I started in the sports like in 2010. Then in 2014, I have to leave because I didn't have the knowledge to do the things that I do now. I have to do
Hmm.
some like backgrounds in education and everything. And some of the people who is still in the scene now, they didn't do that. So they have the passion, they have the knowledge about the game. If you ask like the trends about the the community that they have, they know, but the business part they don't know. So when I try to work with them, I try to do them. I try to make them feel that I'm doing everything for them. Just like you said, just send me a picture in that way. If Jad knows, I have like some contents in our page, even like ideas I give to them. Like, for example, I asked one time for they record a video for me, and they recorded in the bathroom. Then now I put like don't record in the bathroom, you know, because they don't know things like that. For them, it's like I'm recording, you know. So
I'm doing my
they,
part. Like,
yeah,
Yep,
mhm,
yep, yep. It's like, hey, you asked me to do this thing, I did this thing, right?
mhm,
exactly. They're not good at following schedules, and I
yeah,
think for many people, like being able to adapt and being flexible, it's sometimes hard. And then it's like a game, right? It's a game inside a game, and that's funny because you depend on the person, but the person also depends on you. So like
Hmm.
both of you should work together and like make things flow easily, but we don't know what's going on with their
Yep.
lives and their schedules and everything. So I think what you said is important. Like we have to be mindful, and it's okay like to wait and to help them when they need, right?
Yeah.
Not because
Yeah.
we want something in the future, but I think because by doing that, it shows a lot about what we do as gamers,
Hmm.
and it's all about like being able to help and be there for other people.
yes,
And I wanted to ask you about VGA because many people who are watching us or will be watching this after are not familiar with VGA. So what would you say like it's the main mission of your business right now?
Yeah. So VGA, aka Video Game Amateurs, is based in New York City, of course, right? Where we're born and bred and love it here. And mainly what we do is utilize gaming as a tool to create authentic community experiences, right? And so what that means is we do it in almost every way possible, right? We have a stream team that literally starts with people who love the game and that we want to showcase from our communities. We do digital events, we do in-person events, also highlighting individuals within our community, whether it's different talent that can play in a tournament, or even DJs, right? Like, and other creators and creatives, right? Like, we even touch base in the cosplay space. But then we also do this for different brands, right? Like, on how they can engage gaming authentically. So we've worked with Nike, we've worked with Meta, we've worked with
Mhm.
Foot Locker, we've worked with Warner Media, we've worked with Red Bull, we've worked with a bunch of different agencies and in different types of ways, just to say like, hey, how do we bring gaming in a way that is really going to connect with our community? And we also then do this at schools, because I think gaming now is not what it used to be, right? Like,
Yeah.
gaming now is fully embedded in culture rather than separate from it. And so with that, every kid games in some capacity, whether it's on a phone and a tablet, whether it's on a Chromebook, or console or PC. And so, we hold esports boot camps at schools. We also have a traditional curriculum tied to that, where we teach them different skill sets, whether it's around game development, content creation, streaming, production, broadcasting, digital citizenship, journalism, to really kind of tie that together.
I have many questions, but I have just one comment, one quick comment.
no, don't worry,
Um,
go there.
It's okay. So I was thinking like people who follow us, like the podcast, they are either from Brazil or I don't know, maybe from Europe because they saw like a guest, let's say, speaking
Hmm.
from Spain or something. But what I'm thinking is, do you think that location matters? Like in your case, you started in New York City. It's a huge city. Like it has many events. As you said, like places that you can get like some things easily. Do you think these matters when starting like your business or when doing gaming and trying to get people together?
I think, and you know what, I actually even addressed this with the schools that we work with, because even though New York City is large, right? Like esports done in a scholastic way is still very small. And the reason for that is, and I tend to label this as accessibility levels, right? Because if you don't have PCs or we don't have consoles, right? Like, what are we playing? Right? And how are we actually playing together? And we actually even find this here in New York City. We have a ton of underserved communities where I have kids who don't have games at home. I have kids who don't have real gaming PCs at schools. There's that layer of accessibility that is just not there, right? And so when I then expand upon that, right? Like, so even if New York City is large, what that means on a whole in esports, on a whole in gaming, right? Like, you're gonna find pockets of people who may love gaming but may not be able to actually play games, right? Like, they may come and watch gaming movies. They've probably seen Sonic, they've probably seen Super Mario, right? They know of it, they know they've seen these things, but maybe don't even get a chance to actually play it, right? Um, and so, what I think is difficult, not just in New York, probably not just in Brazil, but around the world, is really solving for what it like making gaming even more accessible, right? Like, and I think mobile has gone a long way in doing that, because at least everyone has a phone, and that's where mobile games have become even more popular. And so, what I would say then when starting to try to do something in gaming, it usually starts with working with what you got, right? What do
Yeah.
we have, right? So what I say even at my schools, like I call these like accessibility levels. It's like, all right, well, what do we have here? And based on what we have here, what can we do? Right? Like,
Hmm.
okay, hey, if we all only have phones, maybe we start with a mobile game tournament, right? Like, hey, if we only have switches, maybe we only play Mario Kart or Smash. If we only have Xboxes or PlayStations, maybe we only do this, right? Like, if we only have one system, that's all we got, right? Maybe we make things smaller, right? Like, and
Yes,
do
Yes.
smaller
correctly.
tournaments and larger.
I did like a data set for my podcast now, and you said that yeah, most of our listeners are from Brazil, of course, but 10% of our people who's watching us is from America, is from the US. Then
Nice.
it's
Nice.
because like I think even though of course we have a lot of Brazilians coming here, you have like a lot of people from other countries like you, like from Europe. So I feel that a lot of people that they want to join the esports scene, especially, but in gaming, talking like in general, they come to us like, just for thanks God, but like nowadays, even people for HR sometimes come to me like say, "Hey, I have this position for gaming. Do you know someone who can
Nice.
tell me?" Then I
I
try
love
to
that.
do
I
some
love that.
connections. I try to help most people as possible. Uh, we have like a person in YouTube with us, and he asked me something that I really think is interesting. And thank you, Turku. Turku is a guy that I know, and he's watching our podcasts. And
Awesome.
he asked me like, what problems you are trying to solve when you start VGA. I
Mm.
know that we started because of your friendly and everything, but now, what problems you are trying to solve that?
Yeah, so I love that question, because it actually reminds me of a larger problem that we've been seeing as a world, right? So I went to this festival called the Games for Change Festival, and I was able to sit in on a talk from the World Health Organization. And they talked about how one of the main killers of the people around the world right now is unfortunately, from suicide, right? Like, and that's one of the biggest things that we're seeing happen across the world, and that gaming has been shown to help with depression, that it's been shown to help with feeling like you're alone or lonely, right? Because we're even having more people around the world feel that loneliness, right? And gaming has become that connector, even no matter what country you're in, because we all can play something that we love and enjoy and connect with each other, right? And so for me, one of the first things that we tried to solve was, how can we start connecting people with what they love again, right? Because even though gaming has been so much fun, right? Like, I remember growing up, and even still to this day, online interactions are still a very toxic environment, right? So even though it could solve for it, right, if we were truly just nice to each other and enjoying what we love, it's not that true all the time, right? Like, there's a lot of toxicity in these spaces for unknown reasons. And so for us, it was like, hey, well, if we like games, you like games, how about we bring gaming outside, right? Like, take it from outside of our homes. Let's bring it outside and create an environment where we can actually meet each other again, right? You can play with your online friends. You can engage with each other a little bit. You can find new friends. And then even also trying to create experiences for people who may be a little bit more introverted, right? Like, all right, well, hey, guess what we like, right? Like, I also like building model kits, right? Like, and we like anime, we like all these other things. But what if we also include these in our event? So even if you were a little bit more introverted, you had something that you could do just to be in a social space with everything else you kind of love and enjoy, right? Like, and maybe eventually you'll bring a friend, or you'll find a friend, right? Like, and that's one thing that we wind up really being able to create, that like safe space to enjoy everything that we love, right, together. um and then the second thing that now we're starting to solve is in schools, that accessibility piece, right? Like, so it's like, hey, if I know schools don't have the equipment, our team actually brings the equipment on site ourselves, right? Like, it's like, hey, like, how do we balance this? Well, it's like, listen, we will have all the equipment. Whatever you need, I will help you get there so that you can still compete, you can still learn how to play, your kids can get used to the game, and eventually actually get to play at a higher level, right?
And how's your approach? Like when you go to schools, what do you tell them? How do you break like the
W-
belief
Just one
that game?
second before the
Oh,
question. You told something that made me think, and I remember that I talked to Julie. Do you know Julie, like from the Esports California Association,
Oh,
the
yep,
president?
yeah, yeah.
And she told me a history that made me almost cry. Which was, she got one student that he has like autism, is correctly in English, autism,
autism.
and
Mhm.
he couldn't interact with anyone. And because of the game, she started to make him interacting. And now he's the part of the group of the guys who plays soccer, football, and everything, because of the game. Because he couldn't interact, and the game he starts, because he was autist. He has like more facility with the games. It
Yep,
was
yep.
easier for him, and he start to help the guys, like everyone start to be friend with him, and now he's part of the group, and he's really happy with that. This is
I
something
love that.
that
It's
people
awesome.
doesn't understand how good can be games. I know that you said, and it's true, like online is a lot of toxicity,
Hmm.
but if you work in the right way and make people interact with each other, it can be like so helpful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Literally, it winds up creating those lifelong friendships, or just helps you get more confident, right? Like, and there's actual proven studies that it also helps with your hand-eye coordination. It helps with your memory, right? Like, it helps with so many other facilities too. It's not just like, hey, you're playing games and nothing's happening, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. And yeah, in the same sense, I think it's a nice story like to start from. Do you have any similar success story inside VGA or that you observed?
Yeah, I there was one tournament that we held for a client, and it was for middle schoolers that we work with. I think at the time this player was in sixth grade, and it was his like first like big tournament, and we did it between eight different schools, and so we had close to 100 kids in the building that were playing, and this was for Smash Bros. Um, and one of this kid was doing extremely well. Like he was blowing everybody out. He had not lost a game. He's now in semifinals, or excuse me, he's in winners finals actually, right?
Mhm.
Like, as he made it straight directly through. And his team was rather small. His school was rather small too, right? Like they had maybe 8 players, and like I remember one of the other teams came with like 30 people, right? Like not all 30 of them were playing, but like the rest of the school was just supporting, right?
Yes.
Like, and so when our student
Just
athlete
one
goes on,
second. What game is Smash Bros?
yeah, Smash Bros.
Yeah, that
Smash
was
Bros.
okay. Okay, keep going. Keep going.
And so the player was a Kirby player. He was phenomenal. Like he like star player, like natural talent, was crushing it, right? But
Yes.
then when he gets up on the stage now to play for winners finals, and like I said, his team is small, and you got a couple of his teammates supporting him, but then you have this other team with supporters, like 30 kids,
Yeah.
like go, 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 go. It built up anxiety in him because now he's nervous and he's never experienced something like that before,
Mhm.
right? And so
Yeah.
we had to like hold on the match. We had to take him to the side. We had to talk with him, and said like, listen, like, if you don't want to play, you don't have to play, right? Like if this is too much, right? Like, because once again, it's that experience where like I'm rooting for him. I'm doing it like I want you. I know you're gonna win. Like just go
Yeah.
play.
Go
Just
there,
go
bro.
play.
Go there,
Yeah,
bro.
just do it. But also, you have to switch gears, right? Like, because we're also kind of like their coaches, right? So you have to switch gears and say like, well, how do I really support how he's feeling, not how I feel about it, but how he feels about it, right? Like, and so if he's feeling this anxiety, I'm like, listen, like you've been doing so well, but I understand, right? Like, and I'm gonna give you a couple minutes, sit with this, right? Breathe. I'll give you some water, hang out. I'll come back and check with you. If you don't want to play, you don't have to play. That's fine. If you do want to play, we're here to do it. I'll make sure we hold on the tournament and we'll come back to it, right? We held for like 5-10 minutes, come back. He was like, no, I don't want to do it. I don't feel comfortable. Like, he's still having this anxiety. I'm like, listen, that's perfectly fine. Listen, you played well, you did amazing, right? And he wind up even with essentially disqualifying himself there. He still got third place, still won a prize, still did everything else, right? So the following year, right? Like he's now back and at the tournament, right? He's in 7th grade now, and he's coming ready. And he personally came and talked to me. He's like, "Yo, thank you so much for talking with me last year." He was like, that was a lot for me at that time, and there was so much going on. He was like, but from that, I learned that wow, like I have an opportunity to do so well, and that was making me nervous last time. But today I'm not nervous. Okay. He's like,
Today
Okay.
I'm gonna
I'm
win.
coming. Yeah, yeah. Today I'm here for it, right? Like, and that's great because he was able to reflect. Like I gave him his space to sit with it that time. And it allowed him a year later to really process that, sit with it, and say, okay, I understand what was happening now, and I understand why I felt that way. And then this year, I'm here for it, right? And he
He's
wind
ready.
up he wound up getting, I think, second place the second year. Yeah, like
Yeah.
he crushed it. He does so well. And so
Yeah.
that was like a big moment because I'm glad, like even from our team, I'm glad we just didn't try to force it on him, right? Like we held that space because ultimately he has to learn that himself. That's what tournaments feel like sometimes, right? Like when you're in a high pressure environment, you're gonna have people cheering, you're gonna have noise, you're gonna have this, have that. You have to be able to hold it yourself, no matter what a coach says. You have to hold that pressure. And so with that, I'm happy that he was able to learn from it.
You told that history, and I remember that almost happened with us in 2010. In that time,
Yeah,
yes, you have like a team that it's famous now, it's Pen Gaming, and it
yeah,
was crazy because the team in Dota, that the game that I played in that time, I was manager of the team. Uh, you are the best of Americas, like in America, South America and in North America, and we went to Alan House to play a tournament, and it was like a 4-4 tournament. It was like the team was invited to people coming to watch. They knew that we were gonna win, but they
yeah.
come for people watch. And in the final, it was a lot of people watching. And imagine that the team was me, you, and Jadi, and they won the first match. And they say like, "Hey guys, what happens?" And they say like, "Oh, it's totally different playing online and playing presential. I cannot talk." They listen to me, and I say, "Hey, relax, just play, because if you play, you are gonna win. It's not like two people which is professional playing. It's like us against people who is just like fun of us." and they say,
Yeah.
"Oh, it's totally different," and they say, "Yes, it's totally different. Just breathe and play." Then they
Yep.
start to be like more calm, and we win. But it was funny because imagine that amateur group, and they won the first match, and they say, "What's happened, guys?" They say, "Oh my god, it's different. I'm not used to play like that." It was
Yeah.
funny.
Because they're used to
Uh,
just sitting in their house, locking in, and then
yes, no
that's
one
it.
is watching. Like that,
Yeah,
a
you're
lot of
not.
people are watching, but they don't know that. They just know they are playing. I
You
did a
just
lot of
say whatever you want.
yeah. I did a lot of questions like about business, but I didn't do the most important question. What is your game? What the game
Yeah,
you
my game.
love? Yes.
Oh man, oh man. I mean, I it changes from time to time, but I'll go by my tag. So my tag is called Soul Brandon, and it's called Soul Brandon because Soul Calibur used to be my game.
Oh,
So this was back in Soul Calibur, even 1 and 2. So plenty of years ago. I used to actually play Siegfried, aka Nightmare. I played it on all consoles, but even at the arcade. And so at the time when I was younger, I used to go to the arcade. They had like a conquest mode, so they would create like your ghost of your character based on how often you played. And I was the top ranking one. And so I would
Really?
wait by the arcade to see if anybody's gonna come play so I can go beat them up. And that's actually how I learned how to play Dance Dance Revolution, DDR, because I would wait, play DDR, and then go play Soul Calibur. But I was one of the best, right? Like at that time, that was like one of my games to where even going into Soul Calibur 3 when I went to college, I went to New York Institute of Technology. We had like a game room, and I would come and play, and I would beat everybody up so bad. One time they used a Game Shark to cheat and play as the final boss with infinite health, and I still won. I just had to ring him out. So I was like, "Look, you can cheat all you want. You're still not going to stop me." So that was my game and where my tag stemmed from. But in terms of what I still play to this day, I still indulge obviously in some Smash Bros. Ultimate. That's always fun and always something that we love to throw down on. I'm a huge fighting game person, so I play Street Fighter 6 a lot as well. Usually, well, now I'm Sagat again because I used to actually compete when I was playing Street Fighter 4, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and Super Smash Brothers Brawl. So with Street Fighter 6, I play Sagat now. I'm waiting on Marvel Tokon, which is going to come out, I think, in August. So I'm going to be playing that as well. I also do tend to hop on for Marvel Rivals for a little bit. I do love Rivals. Rivals is super fun. And then also Marathon, actually. I really enjoy Marathon too. I think they have a free week. I think the free week is this week or maybe next week.
Mhm.
So I would advise everyone to test it, try it out, have some fun with that as well.
nice.
Is it the second event that you're organizing? I think you did one called Power Up, right?
Yeah, power up, power
Mhm.
up. Yep.
Yes. And then can you tell us about the challenge and what's behind it?
Yeah. So funny enough, Power Up stemmed from our first collaborative beer, actually, with a brand called Bronx Brewery. Yeah. So we actually started working with Bronx Brewery back in 2022. And we co-created a beer with them called Select Start. And so it was draft only. We sold out the same day that we had an event for it. And they gave us an opportunity to make a second beer. So we made a second beer called Power Up. And in tandem to that, we were like, hey, let's create an event around it. And so we called the event like the Power Up launch event when we first launched the
Yeah.
beer in 2023. And what that was is like, hey, we're gonna have DJs, we're gonna have 10 casual game setups, local vendors, we're gonna do live stream tournaments, we're gonna have a whole lot of fun with each other. And then we invite a special guest to perform, which since we're from New York, I invited Joel Santana to perform a couple songs, and it was a great hit. And so the following year in 2024, we were like, hey, how can we up level this again? And, for us, we started with Bronx Brewery. So we were like, let's bring an event to the Bronx that I don't tend to see anymore. And once again, the Bronx having a lot of underserved communities, we were like, hey, let's create like a block party or like a street fair type of event that can be in an area that it's not normally, because everything else happens in like Manhattan or even Brooklyn. There's like nothing that happens in the Bronx like that. And so we closed down a street block. We partnered with Red Bull. We brought out a stage outside, obstacle courses, carnival games, 15, 16 DJs, performers, so many games for people to play, indie game developers to showcase their games as well, and really create an experience for what we envisioned. Like, what does a gaming and music festival based out of New York look like? And so it was a major hit. We had close to 1,500 people show up. It was super, super, super fun. A lot of work, right? Like, cause that's when I learned all the inner workings of what it takes to get a permit, right? Like having to work with other vendors, certificates of insurance, right? Like, can we sell drinks outdoors or indoors, food, this or that, right? Like, it was a huge project that we worked on for roughly like 8 months for it to even come to fruition,
Wow.
right? Like, we started in roughly November of 2023 for it to happen in May of 2024, right?
Mhm.
Um, and so that actually really allowed us to kind of be that figurehead of, hey, like, we are individuals that are literally creating a festival in New York City all by ourselves, right? Like, we didn't have any sponsors, we didn't have like anybody throwing money at us. We were just going out there and saying, "Hey, we want to go do this thing. Let's go do it." Right? Like,
That's
Yeah.
and
brave.
literally, yeah, literally, like, just saying, "Hey, like, no one could show up or everyone could show up," right? Like, I don't know. We're gonna just take the risk, right? Like, I was down and open to take the risk. We also even got another like big talent performer. It was Jim Jones to come do some songs with us. We had DJs that are also internationally known. We had game tournaments. We did 4 live stream tournaments. It was Tekken, Street Fighter, Smash Bros, and Mario Kart. We were able to just really make something that didn't exist before. And what was great from that is that became like our case study for like what does like a real like large gaming event look like in New York City. And so from there we started actually working even more with NYC public schools and the mayor's office of media entertainment to help them build on what is now known as the official New York City video game festival. And so that's more what I've been talking about, I think, throughout this time, is like we kind of function in 2 tracks now, right? Like, we have our main community track where we directly engage the community through our own events and through things that we love and enjoy. And then we also have our scholastic track, right? Like, where we bring this back to K through 12 schools, even colleges, right? Like, and build in that lane. And so with the New York City Video Game Festival, it actually features an event called Battle of Boroughs, which is a huge Minecraft challenge that's hosted here in New York City. And it encourages students from elementary, middle, and high school to build essentially something in Minecraft based on a prompt that either has to do with like building a sustainable neighborhood, or how do you envision like your neighborhood being better, whether it's through a garden, whether it's through having more electric bikes or libraries or whatever it is. Like, you as the kids, you get to dream it up and build it yourself, right?
You're the
um
creative ones, right? They
yep,
they
yep.
they come up with amazing ideas. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's super impressive. And so with that event that this most recent year had over 700 schools participate at each of those grade levels, elementary, middle, and high school, all for them to like essentially build what they envisioned they would want their neighborhood to be, right? Like, which I think is super amazing. And so what we do is we feature at the New York City Video Game Festival the finals of that. And then more recently this year, we actually started New York City's first collegiate esports circuit. And that's another city sponsored event where we are trying to bring more lands. So similar to what we do with VGA, with bringing more people together, right? The one thing college students ask for is more lands, more in-person events. How can we meet everyone that we actually play with? Or sometimes when they even go to tournaments, they only meet the players at their level, right? Like at their rank. And so with us, it's like, no, we're going to take in everyone. We're going to hold land so that, guess what? The bronze players get to meet the the immortal players, right? They'll
Yeah.
definitely get scrubbed
Absolutely.
and get beat and get whooped. But you even hear it's like, listen, I would never even meet them, and it's cool to even being in this environment and get to see other players and be with other players that also like and enjoy this thing. And so in building now the New York City Video Game Festival, we have the collegiate element, we have the elementary, middle school, and high school element, and then really it's like a celebration of what digital games look like for scholastic gaming, right? And so we even bring in a bunch of partners this year. We had Asus, Republica Games, we had Microsoft, Apple, CDW, Howard Industries. Yeah, we had art live arcades on site. We had a bunch of indie game developers, even some colleges that were showcasing, different communities that were also showcasing there. It's really like New York City's celebration of the digital games industry. And I think it's amazing that we've been able to be a part of it, and not only be a part, but also produce it. So we actually this year brought in the full team. So one of my team members actually hosts Battle of the Boroughs. His name is Luigi Gomez. Another team member DJs that. His name is Hassan Kanan. We bring in a shoutcaster. Shouts to Rick Sepulveda. We hosted the whole digital show. So we had Nars Vargas, Judy Macias Barbosa, and then we had Hallucinated, which did all of our cameras. So shouts to them. We had Premier Vibes do all the staging. Like, we had a team of roughly 30 people to put this show together between 2 floors, on top of the actual New York City Video Game Festival team, which was Unicorn Roar, Mayor's Media Entertainment, ourselves, and then New York City Public Schools.
Nice.
Sorry, so maybe shout out because it's such a
no,
big
no,
endeavor.
it's okay.
No, totally
It's your
fine.
time. It's your time.
Yeah.
We made it happen with them, and like, listen, it's, you know, I couldn't dream about doing the official New York City Video Game Festival ultimately, and once again, that labor of love, because I spend all year meeting about it. We're already meeting for next year.
Yeah.
I already started those meetings last week,
Yeah.
right?
I imagine it.
And
I
it's
really
huge,
imagine.
and I'm thankful and grateful, honestly.
I have another question from the public, but before, I'm going to do a comment that you are going to understand the final. Try don't be mad with me before. When I was young in 2000, I played Mario Kart. Do you remember Mario Kart in SNES,
Yeah.
Super Nintendo? And there is a phase in Mario Kart, the castle. I used to say that I was unbeatable. I have never lost in this
Oh
phase.
yeah.
Yes. Why I'm saying that? Because I didn't know people who play well. It happens with me in the future because I know people who plays as a professional, and I did a tournament of FIFA in my university. And everyone who plays FIFA, they are unbeatable until they know someone better than them. Because I
Yep.
am unbeatable and no one wins, and they lost like 6-0, and they say, "Oh, this guy is really good." Because I remember that in 2000 you didn't have internet in that time, and between my friends I never lost in this phase, and I was saying like, "Oh, it's impossible, no one wins from me, I am the best." It basically, if I had the opportunity to play with other people, of course I'm going to lose, but for me I was unbeatable. So until today I never lost in this phase.
That means we might have to play that. We might have to bring some Super Nintendo Mario Kart. I mean, I can't say I'm good at that one. I'm not good at that one either. Like even playing it now is different. But we actually have some people that really love Mario Kart even over here that play with us, and I think I'm good. No, I'm like, how did you do this, right? Like, not only do they know how to use the cards, they know the maps, they know
I know.
everything
No, I'm
else
not
they
like
need
that.
to do.
I'm not like that. But my dream, I think you know this one, is going to Japan, because in Japan you can drive in the streets like a Mario Kart.
Yep.
This
And
is my dream.
too.
Yes, this is just
Maybe
my
we go
dream.
together. We go
Yes,
together. We
can
all
go.
dress up. We all dress up.
Yeah, I love that.
I don't play Mario Kart, but I would go definitely.
Yeah, right. Like, we could all dress up and drive around.
Yeah. The question for the public, I think it's based on or what we are talking, and I like it. It's Victor asking me like, what roles, in your opinion, do festivals play in the gaming culture?
I mean, I think, you know, I'm one, I think every role is important, right? But you know, it's hard for me to say just one, because I think the best route is to always play or do whatever skill set you currently have, right? Like, so like my reverse question is like, well, what are you currently good at, right? What can you currently do, and what do you actually like and enjoy doing, right? Because there's, I think, room and space for everyone in some capacity, right? Like, so even with talking about the New York City Video Game Festival, right? We have talent that talks on the digital show. I have people who talk and host on stage. I have the actual student athletes. I have people behind the cameras. I have people that are running the show. I have people who created the graphics, right? I with it, there's so many different roles in that lane, right? Like, and then even for, if we're talking about like game design, right? Like, there are voice actors that we've talked to and worked with, right? Like, there are environmental designers, there's concept artists, there's so many different roles. So really, it's like, hey, like, well, what do you like and enjoy, and start there, right? Like, so even with me, like, eventually we got to a position where, hey, I'm able to utilize my skills, being a project manager, being a director, and all this stuff. But it took me 7 years to start to use the skills that I had spent 20 years building, right? But when we originally started, we started with, what do I like? Well, I like to play some games. We can stream, right? Like, we can, I could hablando, I could talk all day, right? Like,
Yeah.
you put me in front of the camera, ba 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 ba, all day, right? Like, I know what I'm good at and what I can do, right? And then I can work on graphics, so I do our graphics. I've done that for a little bit, and that was something that I started with, and then eventually I grew into the other roles where it's like, hey, I can also project manage, I can build an event, I can do this, I can do that. And so my question, or my reverse question, would be to, like, see what you like and enjoy and would like to do, and start there. And I think that'll be a good place to go from.
Nice.
Yeah. It's a lot of things that come to my mind right now, but I think one of the questions that I think it's important for us to understand better what you're doing for your community and what VGA is building, and also for future companies. What do you think is the relationship between education and gaming, and how do you think that will evolve for the next decade?
So, I think even in this last decade, colleges have been supporting esports, pretty largely, at least here in the North America, right? Like, and I think over the past couple of years, I've seen that even be honored largely on the world stage now, right? Like, um, and so when we talk about how that looks like for scholastic gaming, I think having it become a more standardized environment, almost similar to sports, because it's not exactly like sports, right? It has its own nuances, because there's different pieces of that pie and that puzzle, right? Like, in sports, guess what? You play a position, you play your position well, and then you can continue into college playing that position, and then that's it, right? Like, you can either become pro, or become semi-pro, or that's all. Whereas in gaming, there's so much more for, I think, students to potentially become a part of in the digital games industry, to where, in my mind, it's really about that career pipeline and development of not just the player as the athlete, but the player as a creator, right? And if we treat that, the player as a creator, that means also teaching everything around being the player, right? Like, hey, if you really love this, how can you do for yourself, be for yourself, create for yourself? Because I think that gear switches into, hey, instead of me being told what to do and how to do it, oh, hey, I can start to do myself, I can start to create with myself, I can start to grow ultimately, right? But coming back to then even the standardized component of it, right? Like, the main issue that I see, which I know is widely done even in North America right now, is that while there's tons of different esports leagues, everyone is going off of their own rule sets. Some of them are engaging in games that, let's say, are a little bit more violent, and they shouldn't
Yeah.
necessarily being played at K through 12, even if they are done at like a collegiate level, even if they are done at a world stage and are pro games, right? And so I think we really need to start gauging, like, what does it mean to really be a gamer, and how are we preparing, like, students to, like, go on that pathway in a way that is, like, ethical, and is not just throwing more violence in their face.
Yes.
And then the last part I think is just making it more accessible, right? Like, and what we see is like even in traditional sports, and this is where, I think the traditional sports route is interesting, right? Like there's whole systems built around it, right? Like they have whole leagues that they get played, whether they're local, whether they're national. Schools can get involved in them, but even then, guess who has to pay? Parents, right? Parents have to pay to actually become a part of this. It's a whole ecosystem, right? Like millions of dollars, billions of dollars, right? Whereas gaming, because of this creator element that I think we can really hone in on, if we really make it more accessible at a scholastic level by having these resources on hand based on the studies that show that it's actually good for students, right? We can now start to not only get them to play games, but teach them, right? Get them more involved, get them to do things that they wouldn't normally have to do at home. And conversely, that keeps them off the streets, right? Like that keeps them being able to do something that they need to do, right? And want to do,
Yes.
rather than just having nothing to do, right? Like, and just being outside, right? And so it winds up solving so many problems if we start really taking gaming seriously at our schools and really starting to train kids and get them ready for careers in this thing that they love and enjoy, and doing it in a safe environment, honestly.
And other thing that I think about gaming, and I'm trying to expose that in a content that I'm doing, is that almost every game that you are playing, you are learning something from the real life. You know, I have a content that it's going to post today, is like every Wednesday, that we show some parts of the game that it's true in the real world. The
I love
example
that.
that I try to use for everyone understand is like The Last of Us. The Last of Us, the fungus, the virus that they
Yeah, the
make it,
the fungus.
the fungus, it's real. It doesn't affect human, of course, but it's a real fungus. It's a insect
Hmm.
one that it's real. So every time that you are playing, if you pay attention, you can get something that it's happening in real life for the gaming. But unfortunately, I'm going to steal the phrase of my friend: "Time is fly when you are having fun." So you have you are in the last question, which is you usually make a joke that it's the most important, which is the golden question. Like
Marcel,
you,
I just want to say, I
yeah, yeah.
want part two. If Brandon is up
Yeah.
to, I
No,
want a
no.
part
I
two.
I have a docs here that you are talking between me and Jadi, and I told her
Mhm.
like I'm going to start doing like part two with some guesses. I have a list of guesses, and of course you,
Okay.
because we separate your topics in six topics, I think, and we stopped it in the third one. You have three more topics to talk about. You have much more things to talk about, like in the future and everything. So we need another part two for you.
Yeah.
I'm down.
But
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Absolutely.
but I have to invent another golden question because I have just one golden question. I have to get another one for part two. The golden
Yeah.
question is, uh, what advice you could give for someone who is starting in gaming today? When I say gaming, don't imagine just like playing, like
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the general.
yeah. My advice is twofold, right? Like, one, um, get involved in any way that you can with your local communities, right? Whether you're fully like the game or not, right? Like sometimes you never even know if you actually like and enjoy the game, right? Like, but
Yeah.
what are your local communities actually doing in gaming? And start to get more involved, right? Like just showing up is already a big step, because not everyone just shows up, right? Like, and so just getting involved in learning allows you to see what's going on and allows you to maybe see how you can fit into that larger piece of the puzzle. And then my second is, whatever idea you have. Sometimes it's like, oh, I want to stream, oh, I want to do a podcast, oh, I want to make content, or well, just start it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Right? Like, it doesn't. Our first VGA logo, even though I've known Photoshop for years, we made it on Microsoft Paint, because I didn't know that this was going to go anywhere, right? I was just like, you know what, we'll just throw a VGA, Microsoft Paint, haha, this is cool, laugh, and then we just stream, right? Like, but guess what? Eventually, now we're here, right? Like, now I've been invited on this podcast to talk about all the work we've done in the last 7 years, right? Just starting is so big and impactful because that builds a system for you to start moving off of, right? Builds momentum for you to start moving off of, which is huge because, half the time just not starting is what's stopping everyone. So I think those would be my two big things.
Really,
Nice.
really nice. Your cat stole the whole attention now.
Oh yeah. Is him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but thank you so much, Brandon, for joining us. It's truly like what you said. It's inspiring for many people. I was particularly interested because you join education and gaming. So these are two big things nowadays.
Yep.
So I think that would be great for many of our listeners. And thank you so much for joining us directly from New York City. And we will stay in touch for sure for
Yes.
part two.
Yes.
Thanks,
Please.
everyone
Please. Thanks.
watching. And thank you,
Thank you.
Marcelo.
Just before we stop it, you usually give like some minutes for you if you want to say where they can find you, tell a little bit about VGA, where can find VGA.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can find us on all social media platforms at Video Game Amateurs, right? You can search us. So Video Game Amateurs, Amateurs, or our tags usually on IG, TikTok, Threads, and Twitter is at VGAMATEURS.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank
So
you so
thank you very
much.
much, Brandon. Thank you very much for everyone's watching. Maybe I have a plot twist about the next guest, but until now, the next guest is Cesar. He is the country manager of MSI. So thank
Awesome.
you very much, guys. So see you on Monday. Bye bye.
Bye bye.